The mating crisis. Hi. The dilettante Scandinavian boomer finally back again with some stupid philosophical reflections, that nobody finds anyway. So why this effort? Well, first, to pull my weight and relieve my conscience, and second, to add one more stick to the red pill ant pile of the monosphere. So hang on, and excuse my English. First, a quick check on the internet to see what people think are the most probable apocalyptic threats to mankind. Well, as expected, the most frequently named is the climate change, followed by pandemic, asteroid impact, nuclear war, and AI takeover, but the list goes on. Never do you find the real, impending threat above all, namely, the mating crisis. Mating is an utterly important and intricate thing for almost all animal species. The mating procedures are most often very complicated, for evolutionary reasons. It's a struggle for propagation of the best genes, and there are losers both on the male side and on the female side. Well, actually substantially more on the male side. The mating process are often accompanied by complicated behavior, mainly performed by the males. Dancing, making noises, fighting, showing off, and courting before any pairing takes place. These mating patterns have evolved over millennia, and if they are disturbed, impeded, obstructed, or disturbed by external or internal factors in an extensive scale, the whole species may face extinction. Here I would like to name a few clear examples that supposedly happened due to disturbed mating conditions. The Rocky Mountain locusts once counted over 15 trillion individuals, with continuous swarms stretching from Canada to Colorado in the late 1900s. Their mating was dependent on large continuous areas of grassland with certain properties, and when humans plowed and cultivated the land, it was divided into disconnected areas, and the locusts could only survive in smaller patches unsuitable for their mating habits. In just a few decades they were all gone. Another example. The passenger pigeon, once by far the most common bird in North America, counting over 5 billion. They were heavily hunted and their habitat was also destroyed. When the population went under a critical threshold, they could no longer succeed in mating and breeding, so the population collapsed. The last surviving pigeon died in 1914. Yet another well-known example is the rodent experiments done by John Calhoun in the 1920s. All conditions, in the so-called Universe 25, seemed favorable for the mice, yet mating and caring for the offspring failed, and after some generations all the mice were dead. Calhoun hoped that humans would not face the same fate since our brain and our intelligence might find solutions. This may, though, be shown as a vain hope. Our society is so complicated, and globally intertwined, and we are so interdependent that if one domino brick falls, all may fall cause of the momentum in our society's way of working, making breaking and a reversal impossible. And of course, no mating, no babies. When infrastructure breaks down, there will be harsh fights for food in the megacities we created. Calhoun's experiment are ominously hanging over us. The mating crisis is a consequence of the abominations happening in the 60s. Spreading and misuse of the birth control pill, women's sexual liberation, and accelerating feminism. As said before, mating is a complicated issue for most species, but I would say, even more so for humans. Humans are admittedly apes, but we are not chimpanzees or bonobos where hypergamy is low and sex is more or less free for all. All males may be considered fathers and there is no DNA tests. Actually, we are the only species that has ever developed a civilization. No other primate has ever built a house, less so constructed a road. As always, there are evolutionary reasons why mating is so complicated. It's really about the selfish genes trying to propagate and survive. People are like cars with the genes in control of the steering wheel, deciding where to go. Pairing and mating have most certainly been a cumbersome, sometimes strugglesome endeavor in the history of humans. Besides this, the environmental conditions have been harsh: fights, diseases and a constant food shortage, and the population growth was therefore slow. After millions of years, humans finally managed to figure out and establish a gender-balanced mating system. It's called monogamy, strict monogamy. To make it work, it was accompanied of a number of conventions and habits. Nothing like mutual consent, rather the family or families were very much involved over finding a suitable partner. Marriages were often arranged. There was also, as a rule, a way to mark out or let everyone to know who was already engaged and who was not, making it easier to select a partner. And most men and women alike could not get their first choice. The rule was, if you can't get who you love, you have to love who you got. And it worked fine, making reliable, stable, and often happy families in the end. Now this is all gone. Thanks to a misuse of the birth control pill, women's sexual liberation and feminism. Mark, there is no, and never was, a male sexual liberation. Males still try the traditional way, the way of the nice guy, that once worked. Today it doesn't, but most guys, the simps, try the same even harder, just in vain. The atrocities of the 60s turned everything upside down. The story that developed is all too well known to discuss more here: the dominant top 10% chads monopolizing and misusing practically all girls in their 20s, leaving them unmarriageable in their 30s. This is in short the way human mating is seriously disturbed, even destroyed, and we are now 2 generations, 60 years, into a transformation leading to a breakdown of all relations. Failed mating, no offspring, and an advancing collapse of society. The only reason the decay is not happening faster is the still huge number of beta males. They accept their role as ATM machines and eunuchs to Chad's harem girls, just for the chance of getting a whiff of pussy. But times they are a-changing. The red pill truths are spreading, and more betas are waking up. To end this up, let's take an actual example. South Korea has presently 52 million people. The birth rate is now 0.72 child per woman. In 2054, after one generation, or 30 years, the population will shrunk to 19 million. In 2084 it's down to 7 million, and, in 2134, 110 years from now, it will be under 1 million, facing demise. Well, that's all for today. If I ever get the time, I will try to make some academic gender studies, just to see what crap is produced in our universities. Let me end with a few warband statements. Morals, ethics, values, principles, and control your biology, according to Hammerhand. No hymen, no diamond, according to Undead Chronic. GTN, give them nothing, according to Lion of mgtow. Also check out NPNW, nopussynowork.org. Till next time. Bye.